ちらたち時を超えしゆくの
Hi everybody, this is Kevin and welcome back to another anime review. And today I'm going to be continuing my JoJo's Bizarre Adventure review series, going on to Part 2, Battle Tendency, which of course is on the same Blu-ray as Part 1, Phantom Blood. I just split this up into two videos just because there's so much to talk about. I'd be going on for an hour if I had it all in one video. So Part 1 was last week, Part 2 is this video. And again, friendly reminder, gonna have a lot of spoilers. I cannot talk about this series without getting into spoilers because there's just so much crazy shit that happens. So you have been warned, spoiler warning. Go watch the series if you haven't already. Definitely watch Part 1 and Part 2. Do not listen to the people saying, oh, just skip that, go to Part 3. Do not do that. That's just hearsay. I mean, what the hell? I can't believe people actually say that, but, you know, that goes on. So, anyway, let's get to some of the voice acting. Also, you know, I mentioned this in my review for Part 1. Each part takes place, you know, some years later following a new member of the Joestar family. For instance, Part 1 was in the 1880s following Jonathan Joestar. Part 2 follows Joseph Joestar, the grandson of Jonathan, in the 1930s. And another cool thing about this one is there's a bit of a road trip here. The beginning starts out in New York. They go to Mexico. They go to Italy. They go to Switzerland. They might go somewhere else in between, but I definitely know they go to those 4 locations. And that lays out the groundwork for the road trip that happens in Part 3. So I thought that was pretty cool to take note of. Anyway, the voice actors. We have Benjamin Diskin as Joseph Joestar. And he did such a great job, man. Absolutely terrific. Benjamin Diskin has been voice acting for quite some time. Recently, for me, I heard him as Rokuro in Tales of Berseria, and he just doesn't get a whole lot of credit. He did phenomenal. Had like the British American accent going, really good. We also have Caesar Zeppeli, voiced by Bryce Papenbrook, who Caesar Zeppeli is the grandson of Baron Zeppeli from Part 1. So really cool how you have the two grandsons teaming up in Part 2, and Zeppeli, he has an Italian accent, and Bryce Papenbrook did a pretty good job with the Italian accent. I like that quite a bit. We have Lisa, voiced by Wendy Lee, who Wendy Lee's been in a lot of stuff throughout the years, did a terrific job as Lisa. And I gotta say, people go on about JoJo's, how, oh, it's so, you got the flamboyant outfits on the men, it's so gay, blah, blah. Dude, look at Lisa. She is smoking hot, okay? So, you know, JoJo's might have the flamboyant men, but it also has some waifus here and there. We have Keith Silverstein returning as Robert E.O. Speedwagon, as a supporting character. We have Michelle Ruff returning as Arena Joestar, or Granny Arena in this iteration, who is, you know, looking after Joseph. So we'll get into that about his parents later on. New character, we have Smokey Brown, voiced by Robbie Damon, who's one of Joseph's friends. A really funny introduction to that. Susie Q, voiced by Stephanie Shea. Rudolph von Stroheim, voiced by Dan Warren. We'll get to him later, but man, what an excellent job by Dan Warren, and what a character von Stroheim turned out to be. We have the villains, the Pillar Men. The first one, it's Santana, that's his real name, but in the English dub, it's San Viento. I guess they could use the name Santana. Voiced by Kaji Tang. We have AC/DC, not spelled ACDC, but spelled ESIDSI. D-I-S-I, sorry. Voiced by Chris J. Alex. Wamu, voiced by Paul St. Peter. Wamu is Wham. And then Cars, voiced by John DeMita. And then we also have Straightso returning as with Dave Mallow voicing him, who also voiced him in Part 1. So, great voice cast. And the villains, the Pillar Men, they are great. We'll get to all that. So, it starts out with Joseph Joestar going to buy a Coca-Cola. Nice product placement right there. And he gets his wallet mugged by Smokey. and the attendant who's trying to sell the soda is like, what you doing, boy? Go after him. What's he doing? Taking your wallet. You just gonna take that, boy? And so he chases after Smokey. And Smokey is black, by the way. It's set in the 30s, so it's sort of playing on that. And Smokey gets apprehended by the police for stealing stuff, when all of a sudden Joseph comes to the rescue, and Joseph has this quip where he goes, "And next you'll say, 'You bastard, how could you possibly do this?'" And I'm just using that as an example, but he'll say, "And next you'll say," and he'll say whatever it is, and then, you know, the opposing guy will say that, and then he'll have like, "Oh, how'd you know I was gonna say that?" And Joseph just has like this charisma to him. It's so fucking good. He says that quite a few times. He doesn't overdo it. He does it just enough where I laughed out loud every single time it happened. It was fantastic. But being a member of the Joestar family, he knows hormone. And so he's holding the Coca-Cola, channeling his hormone, and he fires the bottle cap right at the cop's finger who's holding the gun, breaking all the fingers, holding the trigger in like this really slow motion scene. And it's like, oh my god, dude, what a hook. Well, if you don't like Joseph after that scene, I don't know, there's no helping you. So Joseph befriends Smokey despite stealing his wallet. They become buddies, and some time passes. he's like terrified of Granny Arena. He's like, "Oh no, we're gonna be late for Granny Arena. What's going on?" And you know, as that's going on, Speedwagon is in Mexico observing this new stone mask that they found on this pillar. And among the pillar appears to be a man wearing the stone mask. And what happens is the Germans in the 30s, yep, right, sees the pillar man. They want to free him to turn him into a weapon to use him in their war, led by Rudolf von Stroheim, who has, "Yes, the German accent, and it says some even funnier lines later on. Right, so I'll just say the Nazis want to get the Pillar Men and use it as their weapon, and Speedwagon isn't going to help them, but they want Speedwagon's advice, and they sort of take him as a hostage in Mexico, is where they have the secret army base. So Joseph has to go rescue him. But as all this is going on, Straizo appears as a vampire now. Mind you, Straizo would be like 80 years old at this point, but he's a fucking vampire, and he shows up fighting Joseph. And they're having this fight. He's using his hormone, and he's like, "You fool, hormone is no match for the vampires." Which, fucker, don't you remember when Jonathan used hormone to defeat Dio? What are you talking about? It's no match for the vampires. And I don't know where he got it, but Joseph pulls out like a machine gun out from under his coat and just starts firing away. And then he throws a grenade at Straizo. And then Straizo's like, "You fool, one mere grenade can't stop me." And like he pulls the pin from that grenade, and it shows on Straizo's back, there's like 20 grenades on his back, and Straizo's like, "How'd you get those grenades on my back?" and Joseph just sort of like winks at him. It's like, fucking hell, so fucking good. So you defeat Straizo, and Straizo tells him about the Pillar Men, and about how Speedwagon has been kidnapped. So he has to make a trip to Mexico, which is what he does. And there's this funny scene where they have like these hot babes like, "Oh, hello," like try to get by past the German guards, and then Joseph cross-dresses in this fucking hilarious scene. He's like, "Oh, hello, gentlemen." He does like a high-pitched voice, and they see right through him that he's really a dude, and they start fighting him. And you know, Joseph goes in there, eventually rescues Speedwagon, has a battle with San Viento, where once San Viento has been freed by von Stroheim and the other Germans, and they're doing experiments on him, and they're like, "Oh, his intellect is superb, what is the meaning of this?" And they say he's like over thousands of years old too. He's been encased in this pillar, and we learn later that these were like the supreme beings way back when there was a whole civilization of Pillar Men as like the founders or whatever, which is a bit of backstory there. And the goal later is cars to become the ultimate life form, right? So they have a battle, and again, there's this hilarious scene where Joseph sees San Viento, and he goes up to him, and he's like, he pokes him, "Tag, you're it!" It's like, what the fuck? So eventually they're fighting this dude, and von Stroheim teams up with Joseph, and they figure out the sunlight kills him, because again, they're called the Pillar Men, but they're still technically like vampires because they wore the mask that Dio had. So they got to get him out into sunlight. And von Stroheim sacrificed himself, or so we think. He does appear later on. Sacrificed himself, getting fucking chopped in half. Again, the gore and the blood and guts in JoJo's out of control. Getting chopped in half so that, you know, Joseph can get him out in sunlight and burn him alive, killing him. And Von Stroheim acknowledges what a swell guy Joseph is, and is like, oh, even if you were my enemy before, I'll help you again, and doing his German accent. Dan War, to think Byakuya could do a fucking German accent and do it so well. Excellent, man. So, eventually, Speedwagon's like, alright, well, there's all these other Pillar Men out there, there's the 3 other Pillar Men, and who are AC/DC, WAMU, and Cars, and we gotta find Caesar Zeppeli, and then also seek out Lisa to learn the secret art of Hamon, who Lisa was raised by Straizo, and, well, I'll get to more of the spoilers about who Lisa is later, because it's kind of, I don't want to reveal it now, but if you've seen it, you already know who Lisa is. So, but anyway, she was the baby that Arena rescued, in the wreckage at the end of part 1, right? But there's more to it than that. So, but she gave Straizo, Lisa to raise her, because she didn't want her involved in, like, the cursed Joestar bloodline, as she said. So anyway, they find Caesar, and just a great relationship back and forth with Joseph and Caesar, where Caesar at the start is definitely more skilled a fighter than Joseph, and he uses, like, the bubble ripple energy with his Hamon, and has this badass headband on. So fucking cool. Like, the character designs here are so cool. And eventually they fight against the Pillar Men. However, they get their asses beat. And that's actually when after that, that's when they seek out Lisa. Because they fight the Pillar Men, they get their asses beat. And it's so funny because WAMU, of all the Pillar Men, I guess AC/DC kind of is too. Cars is really the biggest bad of them all. WAMU is like the honorable villain because he sees Joseph getting defeated. Then Joseph's like, if I trained with Lisa, then I could beat you. Oh, you want to fight again, boys? That's what it is. And he fucking gets like this poisonous ring, he calls it the wedding ring of death or something, and sticks it through him around one of his arteries near his heart. And is like, the poison will activate in 30 days, so you have 30 days to train and then fight me again. So he lets him live and gives him like the 30-day time limit to fight him again. And then AC/DC, for good measure, gives him a poisonous ring around his neck. Inside his, like, they go inside his fucking organs, and again, you get like the queasy, at least for me anyway, the heart and the arteries and shit. It's like, oh, I can't look at that. But yeah, WAMU in particular, the honorable villain, and voiced by Paul St. Peter, who do you voice? Xemnas in Kingdom Hearts, and Yami in Bleach. He has a very distinct voice. The voice acting's so fucking good, man. So they seek out Lisa. She agrees to train them. They gotta climb out of this pit that's covered in oil, and they can only use their Hamon to escape. And also because Joseph isn't well versed in Hamon, you need to breathe properly. She puts like a gas mask on him so he can hone his breathing skills. And then after that, they have the tutelage of Messina and Loggins, who are Lisa's underlings. And then Suzy Q is one of the aides of Lisa as well, who takes a liking for Joseph. And she has an Italian accent too, which is funny. So, throughout their training, they're going to have Caesar and Joseph are going to fight against Messina and Loggins. And then one of them, I think it's Joseph, so whoever's training with Joseph, he goes there and finds that AC/DC killed him, right? Caesar's doing his training, but then when Joseph shows up, he finds out that his teacher's dead. AC/DC killed him, so they have a fight with him. And AC/DC sort of uses like this fire power or whatever, and then also extends his veins. And there's the line where Joseph's like, next you'll say, my veins can move faster than my Hamon energy. And then AC/DC says, my veins can move faster than your Hamon energy. And then he has like the shocked look like, how'd you know I was going to say that? And they just keep one-upping each other. Joseph eventually defeats him while AC/DC admitting, that you won valiantly, and gives him the ring so he can cure the poison. And that's all good. But then later his spirit lingers on. He possesses Suzy Q. And they steal this thing called the Redstone of Asia, which is what Lisa has been protecting for all these years. And Cars wants it to become the ultimate life form. By fusing the Redstone of Asia with the stone mask, he can become the ultimate life form. So then there's some more battles. WAMU fights against Caesar. And actually pretty evenly fought match, but WAMU wins. And Caesar tragically dies in a really heartfelt, paying homage to part 1 where, Baron Zeppeli died and gave his Hamon power to Jonathan. Caesar leaves behind his headband and a bubble, his blood bubble with the Hamon energy. And then Joseph when he arrives. Well, actually, before that, Wamu's like, "I'll let it go. He was an honorable warrior." So again, Wamu like acknowledging Caesar's skill. And then, really, I got really teary-eyed during this scene when he died with the music playing, and Joseph and Lisa like crying, but then Joseph taking the headband, putting Caesar's headband on. So fucking badass. So then they get ready to battle some more. They go after Cars gets the Redstone of Asia, and they're looking after him. They find out he's in Switzerland, and as they're making their way there, they open the door, and fucking von Stroheim is there, ready to fight Cars, and von Stroheim's like, "Let me do it, JoJo. I must seek my revenge. Let me do it. German science is finest in the world." And he does the salute and everything, and he rips up on his shirt, and there's like a fucking Gatling gun in his stomach, and he starts firing away at Cars. It's like, what the fuck, dude? We have this Nazi cyborg, which I have no doubt that JoJo's, this part in particular, inspired Helsing. I have no doubt after watching this. And he starts battling Cars. And then Cars like, "Oh, you're impressive, but I have my bone blades." And he like takes his elbows, turns into bones, starts like slashing at him. It's like, fuck hell. So they're tussling, and eventually gets the stone. And then they agree to meet in the Roman Colosseum to have the final battle. And it's down to Joseph and Lisa, and Joseph's gonna take on Wamu, Lisa taking on Cars, and they're gonna go 1v1. And there is an army of zombies and vampires, but they don't let them get involved just yet, because they're gonna have a one-on-one fight, particularly with Wamu and Joseph, because like I said, Wamu's the honorable one, and they have like this chariot race. Wamu uses like wind powers, and eventually is able to defeat him. And Wamu like again acknowledges like, "Oh, it was an honor to fight you and to die in battle against you, Joseph. What an honorable man you are." And it's like, god damn. And Joseph like, "Caesar, give me the strength to go on." It's so fucking good. So yeah, Lisa starts fighting Cars, but turns out Cars is a cheater, and almost kills Lisa. And then we learn that Lisa is actually Joseph's mother, if you can believe that shit. So, which is kind of funny, because Lisa is hot too, but because of the hormone, it doesn't age as rapidly. And both Caesar and Joseph were hitting on Lisa for good reason. But it's funny looking back that it's Joseph's mother. And as the battle's going on, Cars has his vampires, all of them ready to attack. And then all of a sudden, von Stroheim shows up again with the whole German army with him, shouting, "German science is finest in the world!" And now he has fucking like LED lights on his shoulders, which he turns on to burn all the vampires. It's like, holy fuck. So Cars gets the Redstone of Asia, becomes the ultimate life form, grows fucking wings, grows a horn, all this crazy shit, which actually Wamu and AC/DC grew horns too in their battle. But Cars grows wings and starts flying. So then starts wreaking havoc. Joseph gets in a fucking plane and tries to divert him away. Makes his way to the volcano. They start fighting in the volcano. And then out of nowhere, turns out von Stroheim was on the plane too. And so von Stroheim is helping in the final battle. And it's like, holy shit, dude. What eventually happens, Joseph's arm gets chopped off. But throughout everything, they send Cars into outer space. And as he's floating into outer space, he's freezing. And he turns into the Pillar Man yet again. And he's like, "Oh, I would have won if it wasn't for you, Joseph Joestar." Oh, and it's like, what the hell? And as he's going into outer space, the volcano erupts. And they think that Joseph and von Stroheim have died. So then some time passes, they're having the funeral. And everyone's there. Speedwagon, Lisa, Arena, Smokey, the whole gang, Susie Q, they're all there. And Joseph just shows up. He's like, "Hey, what are you guys doing? What's going on? I'm still alive. What are you having a funeral without me for? I'm still here." and he has a mechanical arm now, which von Stroheim made for him, but it doesn't like work right. It's like, you know, it's all fucked up. And happy ending with Joseph marrying Susie Q. And then in the epilogue, it shows some more stuff, like how they got married, had kids, whatever, had his daughter Holly, who then marries a Japanese man, which is funny for part 3, and Jotaro and all that. Speedwagon died of old age, but there's still the Speedwagon Foundation, which continues in later parts. And then here's the part that really pissed me off. Von Stroheim, he lived all that nonsense, and it says he dies in the Battle of Stalingrad, which, how the fuck is Von Stroheim going to go out like that? They should have just let him go out in the volcano. Instead, they say afterward, you know, he died in the Battle of Stalingrad, which is like, no, he didn't. He's killing vampires and shit. How the fuck, how would he go out? I don't know, man, but it was fucking excellent. I loved it. And then also in the epilogue, it shows them, some people in the ocean, uncovering Dio's coffin. So Dio returns for part 3. And then it also shows Jotaro in the jail cell. And then old man Joseph, which really is only in his 60s. I guess it is kind of old. In his late 60s, voiced by Richard Epcar, who's going on about the goddamn Japanese! Which is good, because his daughter Holly marries a Japanese guy. So he doesn't like that. So let me get to some of the screenshots now. Yeah, like I said, this is meant for people who have already watched JoJo's. So hopefully you can enjoy this, you know, watch it in the background, whatever, or listen to it. Here's Joseph. Again, Joseph just looks like a fucking badass, okay? Look at this dude. A fucking badass. This is the scene... Oh, wait, I think this is against Straitso. Yeah, against Straitso, right? This is the scene when he's cross-dressing. Fucking hilarious, dude. Oh, him and Caesar bickering with older Speedwagon. This is such an epic pose where they're getting ready to fight together. Again, like the flamboyant designs. I mean, why does Caesar have a midriff on? I don't know. That's just the JoJo design. What are you gonna do? Oh man, this is when Caesar died. The reaction. I really got choked up during that scene, man. I'm being honest with you. But he puts on the headband. Give me the strength, Caesar! Such a badass. This is fight against Wamu. Which again, the Pale Red Harley already have like loincloths and shit on in the epic chariot race. Oh, this was fucking hilarious, dude. At the funeral, he shows up. They're like, what are you doing? You're still alive! I'm alive! And this is, yeah, he gets married to Susie Q. And that's old Joseph at the airport on his way to Japan. So here's Caesar, right? Here's Caesar against one of those guys. Was it Messina? I forget. Messina. They both look the same. They're both Lisa's underlings. Here's the fight against AC/DC or Wamu, and that's him giving the last of his hormone energy to pass it on to Joseph, just like his father did before him to Jonathan. And that's the blood bubble. Well, let's see. This is the quote. JoJo, this is the last of my ripple. Take it from me. So good, man. So fucking good. So here's Lisa. Again, she is fucking... Let me get a better one of her. She is fucking smoking hot. There's this one bath scene where you see like her ass and a lot of cleavage. Very good. Lisa, top tier waifu. When people say there's no waifus in JoJo's, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So there's Cars, gets the upper hand. And yeah, just like the animation style, like the colors change, they'll have like the still shots. Very well done. So here's Speedwagon being nursed back to health, saved by the Nazis. Because they want to use his intellect or whatever. Right, here's Granny Arena now. Who Joseph is like scared of this old lady. He doesn't want to mess with Granny Arena. Smokey Brown, who's steals the wallet. And in the epilogue, they actually say he becomes the first president or something like that, or maybe the mayor or governor, something like that. He becomes some kind of political figure. Von Stroh. What a character, man. So yeah, he's in Mexico, got all the hot Latina babes. He going against the Pillar Men. Where's the one scene where he goes about the German science? Hold on, where is it? Not that. This is it right here. He goes, German science is finest in the world! Oh my god. And this is his cyborg form. He has like a fucking gun, these giant LED lights. Like, look at this fucking dude. Dan Warren. Excellent job. Susie Q, right? Well, she appears later on in part 3. Not safe for work? What the hell's going on there? Straight so I said the Pillar Men. So okay, the Pillar Men, and again, the music in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, so freaking good. Just the over-the-top crazy shit going on here. Super speed, right? This is, what's that? His rib cage. AC/DC had like his veins come out and attack him. And this was like the flashback to the powerful race of Pillar Men. I want to see, there's one of all the Pillar Men together. This is San Viento or Santana as he first appears. Like they're all wearing no clothes or whatever. And Joseph, he goes, "Tag, you're it." Tag, you're it. So here's AC/DC. I want to see the one with him. Yeah, here it is. He gets all his veins to come out and attack it. And he just goes, "My veins can move faster than your hormone." Oh, fucking hell. But yeah, they do these crazy poses. Joseph and Wamu in the chariot race at the Coliseum. Just going absolutely crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. I gotta say, of all the villains of the Pillar Men, I know Cars was like the big villain of them all, but Wamu, in my opinion, was the most interesting. The fact that he was like the honorable villain, and he conceded that he acknowledged Caesar's strength, and even at the end, he's blind here, and acknowledges JoJo, like how powerful he is. Yeah, he was honored to face such an opponent as Joseph. Right? And then here's Cars at the end. I wish, is this the one? There's one where all three of them are together. Yeah, here it is. When they first all appear with the masks. And then he becomes the ultimate life form. Look at this. The ultimate life form. And he grows fucking wings. Oh, and they fight in the fucking volcano. Where's the volcano? Fighting in the volcano. Gets sent into the vacuum of space. And freezes out there. So I wonder if in a later part, maybe he'll come back like years from now. That'd be cool if he, like part 10 he comes back or something. Wouldn't it? Anyway, guys, part 2 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Battle Tendency, so good. Do not listen to the idiots saying to skip part 1 and part 2 and go straight to part 3, because that's when the stands appear. And the stands are really cool, but you gotta watch the beginning. You can't skip ahead. And Joseph might very well be my favorite JoJo of the whole series. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and stay tuned for more videos coming soon. Everybody have a great day.